You're listening to I Am Healthy Radio, broadcasting from Los Angeles to the world and back.
Welcome to the Conscious Bodybuilding Show. It's Dr. Fitness here. I'm also known as Stephen Hersey. Oh, let's stop for a little commercial break. Let's all go to the Dairy Queen so we can meet Flamenco Queen. Oh, you know that our special guest today is Flamenco Queen, and she's a very special person, and I wanted to welcome her in person. Welcome to the show, Batista, also known as Flamenco Queen, and her website is flamencoqueen.com. She's been a professional business owner and dance studio owner, and she has an amazing background, and she's going to enlighten us about her insight into conscious bodybuilding and the differences between Yin and Yang energy, and also the differences between better health as far as activities that one assumes through the course of their life, such as Pilates, yoga, and strength training. Batista, you have an interesting background artistically and spiritually. My audience would love to know more about a young girl growing up in Switzerland and taking all creative risk and moving her whole environment into the United States.
Well, hello, Stephen, and thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show today. And as you said, I was born in Switzerland in a small town. I grew up on a farm. And both my parents were artists. My mother was a ballet dancer, and my father was a mime. And so I started dancing ballet at the age of 3. And I went to basically what you can call ballet boot camp. My family were members of the National Ballet of Holland, and it was hardcore ballet. So at a very early age, I was, in the ballet world. Being born in a very small town in Switzerland, a very Catholic town, I was brought up as a very strict Catholic. And very early on, there were some things that really weren't working for me all that well. So early on, I decided to search on the spiritual path. So as a teenager, I'm going a little bit back and forth between my dance career and my spiritual life because it's very relevant to conscious bodybuilding as I experience it today. At a very early age, I discovered flamenco dancing, moved to Spain, and through my travels in the early 80s, I ended up in the United States. So I pursued my dance career. I had a dance studio that I kept for 8 years, which I lost through a fire, and I had a dance company, a successful arts education program. And throughout my journey in being in the United States, and fortunately, especially in Los Angeles, there is a lot of different spiritual practices, and it's very open-minded, a lot more open-minded as where I grew up. And so I pursued studying Kabbalah, Gnosticism. I was studying with a guru for a long time. I have a certificate in intuitive healing. In other words, what I'm saying is that I spend a large portion of my life growing professionally and spiritually to try to become a more complete person. Through this journey, I discovered that as I was getting a little bit older and the hormones started to change, that my body was kind of falling apart. And so I decided, one day I decided that I needed to take some action. And remember that as a dancer, I was actually performing, dancing, doing yoga, doing Pilates, doing jazz, doing aerobic to try to keep my body in a shape, in performing shape, because dancing is my career. And so I was, but I realized at one point that my body was falling apart. But the good news is that through my spiritual teaching, I learned that I have a choice to manifest what I want, basically, so that we don't have to be victims of our environments, that we have a choice to actually make intentions and manifest what we see for our future. And for me, is I didn't see myself go down. I knew that there had to be a solution for this dilemma I was in. I wasn't willing to go down. So at one point, I made an intention. I went to my meditations, as I used to, attend meditation groups just about every day. And I made the decision that I was going to find something that was going to reverse the downward effect of aging, basically. I had injuries. I had a frozen shoulder, a chronic backache for 20 years. I had Achilles problems, bad knees, you name it. As a dancer, we actually abuse our body. We abuse our bodies. The show always must go on, and I've performed over injuries, and so I was actually, not in a very good shape. And so I made that intention that something was going to come into my life that was going to reverse that process. And guess what? The next day, I met you, Stephen Hersey, totally by coincidence, if you want to call it that, which is in my mind, it's not coincidence. And this has been the beginning of this incredible journey into conscious bodybuilding.
So in your intention to come into conscious bodybuilding, what was your experience in the beginning?
I was very scared because I had a lot of injuries and I had preconceived ideas of what bodybuilding was. In my experience, every time I had gone to the gym, I had somehow gotten hurt, and in my mind, I had pictures of big, bulky people, on steroids, like Schwarzenegger type images. And as a dancer, I absolutely didn't want to look like that. And so I had a lot of preconceived ideas, and I was scared. But for me, I had an insight that whatever I had tried before didn't work, and I was my back was against the wall, and I had made the intention, and I decided that it was time to just follow the rhythm of my life. I know I'm a person that always is willing to go through the next step, so I decided to give it a chance. Okay, and but it was scary at first.
How long have you been involved, and what does conscious bodybuilding and the yin and yang of strength training mean to you now?
Okay, so now it's been 3 years that I've started this process, and it's been an incredible journey. In the beginning, I was still fighting with the injuries a little bit, so, like I said, I was afraid, but this process has been extremely empowering, and the way the program is put together, ergonomically suited for my body and for my injuries, I felt empowered very, very quickly. And it's a process. After 3 years now, in retrospect, looking back at the journey of the 3 years, I realized that basically most people are walking around with half their bodies missing. Okay, and I didn't even know that myself, because as a dancer, I felt like I was working with my body all the time, and I'm conscious of my body. So what do you mean half my body is missing? However, now that I had an opportunity to rebuild my body in a new way, I realized that there are so many parts of our bodies that are actually missing that we never use. Now, in New Age philosophies, metaphysical studies, we learn that we only use maybe 1% of our mind, and so that we are actually not living up to our full potential. But what we fail to realize is that we are actually not using the full potential of our body. When you start building the body consciously, and to me that's what conscious bodybuilding means, exactly what it says. It's building the body consciously. That is, that taking the body and putting into the body the pieces that are missing, rebuilding the little muscles here, the joints, everything, so that everything is symmetrical and in place, so that we can be as a whole. Conscious bodybuilding to me now, after 3 years, means connecting the mind and the spirit to my body. You see, I did a lot of studying on spiritual teaching and the science of mind, but in a way, it was not, and it's always called body, mind, spirit integration and connection, but it was not really, I couldn't experience it in my body physically. It was an intellectual, it was more like intellectual knowledge, okay? So through rebuilding the body in this way, it's connecting the dots to my spiritual knowledge, or where I am spiritually. It's like putting all the pieces together as a whole. Also, it's not based on performance. I'm not in competition with anybody. It's really honoring my body as it is today. It's very nurturing, very empowering. It's not like a destination. It's a journey, in other words. Yin and Yang, for me, also means that we have both yin and yang, female and male energy. And if you look at the fitness world, as we know it today, and as I experienced it in the past, is that it's very, actually it's brutal, right? You have boot camp, you have CrossFit, you have all these techniques that are pushing you to do more so that you can get fit. But you know, us women, we can't last like this very long. I mean, maybe in our younger years, and I did this in my ballet years because that's the way I was brought up, in ballet boot camp. But there's a point where it doesn't work anymore. As we grow older, our bodies need to breathe. We need to be more in touch with our bodies. The yin and yang is acknowledging that as a woman, acknowledging that I am both woman and man, and that I can take care of my body and my body's need with respect to that. And I don't have to beat myself up, and I can actually, my body is the temple, and I'm building it to become whole, not because I have a personal trainer pushing me, and in this process of conscious bodybuilding, you become so knowledgeable and so educated and pretty much self-sufficient that you really get the knowledge to do that. You become your own master. It's becoming the master of your own body, and acknowledging and honoring both yin and yang. Conscious bodybuilding is the conscious personal act of evolving toward a higher civilization. Okay, for me, is we keep talking about this new age and this new civilization that's going to come. Most people in the new age circles are, and me included before this process, are more worried about getting out of the body than in the body. I can remember all these 20 years of metaphysical studies, spending, when I was not dancing, spending my spare time in meditation, trying to read auras, getting out of the body, having astral projection experiences, or you name it, but certainly not saying, okay, I have a body on this planet and the body is my chariot. It's my rocket ship that's going to push me towards that new level. To me, the new age, the way I see it, the way I like to hope that the new civilization will be, is a civilization of people that will have fully functioning bodies to the full potential, as well as mind and spirit, all integrated. You know, that means the body as well. And conscious bodybuilding is actually giving me the pathway. It's giving me the blueprint. It's giving me the map towards my personal contribution to the new civilization, the next society.